All right, so continue with combining like terms. So we have, in this case, on question E, 0.2 x to the third minus 1 over 4 x to the second minus 1 over 6 x to the third. So in this case here, we throw in, a decimal here, see how we can deal with it. So there are a few different ways of dealing with them. But first of all, let's see what we are combining together. So we're combining these two together, right? Because we're combining these two together, so we're dealing with the decimal and the fraction. So there are two ways to do this. One way is changing the decimal into a fraction so that you can combine it with the other fraction, or changing the fraction to a decimal so you can combine it with the decimal. So now, in case where the instruction of the problem doesn't say to go one way or the other, so now you choose whichever you feel comfortable with. So in this case, what we're going to do is to change the decimal to a fraction. And how do we do that? Now, 0.2 can be a fraction by doing what? By now either moving the decimal place once here, and when you do that, this becomes a 2, but yet once you do that, you have to also make it up to the fraction part. That means what? So let's come here. So you have 0.2. So we can make it as a fraction. So it's 0.2 over 1. Because remember, we're trying to make up a fraction. So any number can be written as a fraction by putting 1 underneath it, okay? So now, if we move this one decimal place to the right, this becomes a 2. So we have to make an adjustment to the bottom one as well by now multiplying by a 10. Or somebody can just say, okay, instead of moving the decimal place, how do we make 0.2 a whole number? It's by multiplying it by 10. So if you multiply by 10, you also have to multiply the bottom one also by 10. And then this will give you what? 2 over 10. And 2 over 10, you can reduce it as 2 can divide 2, and then 10 can divide 2. So that gives you what? 1 over 5. So you end up with 1 over 5, changing 0.2 to a fraction. So we end up with 1 over 5 x to the third minus a quarter of x squared minus 1/6 x to the third. Okay? So this is what we have at this point. So now we're going to combine 1/5 and then 1/6. Okay? So if we come here, so 1/5 minus 1/6. Now, as we did a little earlier, we're trying to combine adding and subtracting two fractions. We got to find the lowest common denominator. So the lowest common denominator, again, is the lowest number that can divide 5 and 6 evenly. What could be that number? In this case, 5 cannot be broken down further. 6 can be 2 times 3 only as prime numbers. So the easiest way to go is to multiply 5 by 6 because both numbers have nothing in common. So you multiply those two together. So 5 times 6 will give us 30. So we end up with 30. So we have 30 underneath, then 30 underneath. And then once we have 30 and 30, we have to make adjustments like how we did in previous problems by doing what? So it's 30 divided by 5, which is what? 6. So we have to multiply 1 by 6. And for the second fraction, 30 divided by 6 is what? Is 5. So we have 1 times 5. So you end up with 6 minus 5 over 30. Okay? 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 5 is 5. And then finally, you get 1 over 30. Now, we're taking it step by step so that you understand how, we get these problems done so that whenever you have any other problems like that, you know how to follow suit. So we end up with this one equaling 1/30 of x to the third power minus a quarter of x to the second. So we cannot go further because this one is x power 3, this one is x power second. So we cannot add, we cannot subtract. So this would be your final answer.